Because I'm like friendly to everybody, and there's assholes of every color. Let's just put it out there, okay? There's assholes of every color. But I sometimes think that there's certain black people that just don't like me because I'm white.
Guys, I hope you're fine wherever you are. Today I want you to be the judge for this video, and I'll also let you watch this video and please say something about it in the comment section, because I think some things we need to come together and say something about them, because I believe it's important. There's this white lady which she's saying that she has realized that black folks hate her, and this video is also going to show you the reason as to why she said that, as the reason as to why black folks hate her. So let's watch this video, and this time around I'm gonna let you be the judges and say something about this video.
Because I'm like friendly to everybody, and there's assholes of every color. Let's just put it out there, okay? There's assholes of every color. But I sometimes think that there's certain black people that just don't like me because I'm white.
Yes, the answer to your question is yes. Still, I'm curious why the idea of some black people not liking you because of your skin color is any harder for you to reconcile than me being disliked because of my skin color. The history of the dislike of my skin color is documented with systemic violence and the marginalization of black people in areas of faith, finance, politics, family, and education. That history is undeniable, and it's also undeniable that the dislike that you have experienced because of your skin color has never marginalized you in any of those areas. So now that I've directly answered your question, I'm hoping you'll answer mine. Given history, why are you posing this question to my community instead of yours? Why aren't you addressing the ongoing history of how my community is often governed and regarded by your community? Now, whether you answer my question or not, I need you to understand that the dislike that you're talking about experiencing because of your skin color is the beginning of a vetting process that history suggests is often necessary. And regardless of how you value your friendliness, many people are going to choose to vet you anyway for safety's sake. So if you're not being disingenuous and you're really looking for clarity here, just know that your clarity is going to begin in your house, not mine.
Okay, so this video hit my For You page, and just watch.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I already know it, but you know what? I need to know. Are there certain black people that just don't like us because we're white?
So she was complaining about black people being mean to her, so I wanted to see what she was actually talking about. So I dug through her page and found this.
When I lived in New York, I lived in predominantly black neighborhoods, and when I would be walking down the street, I would get called, names, or get out of our neighborhood, or, like stupid white C, bitch, like all these things, simply for just being white and no other reason. So if people are saying they could read my vibes from walking down the street, that's a little insane.
Did you hear it? Because I heard it. She was a white woman living in a predominantly black area in New York, right? Meaning, most likely, she is a gentrifier. Everyone knows about gentrification at this point, so I feel like I don't really need to summarize it, but what happens often is you will have a predominantly black or POC space that will, at some point in time, be the darling zone for young, usually white artists who are poor and can't afford to live in these nicer, predominantly white areas that have historically been segregated. So they move to these historically black segregated areas. And when they're there, they make the place hip. And then the people from those white suburban areas start to hear about that interesting, cool, edgy place in the city, and they want to live there. So what do? They eventually move there. And when they get there, the rent is significantly cheaper than the place that they moved from. Now, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, because one of the things that I had to comprehend when I moved to Los Angeles is that I, in my own way, was gentrifying. I moved to LA from Orange County, where I lived for 6 years with an ex. And when I moved to my first apartment, which was in Crenshaw, which is a predominantly black area, the rent that I paid for me at the time was affordable. How much was my affordable rent? $2,695. Now, mind you, I lived in a 1,400 square foot apartment. It was, for me, in LA numbers, a good deal. Is it a good deal for the people living in the area? No, it's not. In fact, it's astronomically higher than what they're generally paying. So what happens is landlords who are leeches tend to get the idea that they can now raise the rent, right? Because there's people from outside of this area who are willing to come to this area, who are eager to come to this area to be part of the interesting art thing that happened years ago, which, by the way, usually the artists end up getting pushed out as well. And they are going to be willing to pay that much to live in the area. And so effectively, people are displaced from the areas that they were segregated into that have been their homes for all of their life, right? That's probably why people, when they see you as a white woman on the street, are not too happy to see you. And I'm not going to say that people yelling stuff at you is okay, because I don't think it is. I think it's terrible and it shouldn't happen, right? But historically, when white people move to these areas, it often means the people are about to be displaced. I now live in East Hollywood in a predominantly Mexican community, and everyone in my neighborhood has been very, very friendly and very warm to me. And one time I was talking to the local homeless guy who lives on the street, and he told me that he would rather have me in the neighborhood, and I'm one of the few black people in this particular neighborhood, than a white person, because oftentimes when white people move to the area, it just gets even more gentrified. And since I've been here, oh my gosh, so many businesses have closed down. I've seen so many Spanish-speaking businesses close down and reopen as, some sort of, hip thing that is frankly pandering to people who can afford to spend $12 on coffee and $20 on cocktails, right? So yeah, you were a gentrifier, and that's why people weren't particularly happy to see you. But let's talk about something else too. Now, I'm gonna be honest, and I know that some people are not gonna hear this the right way, but more recently, I've developed a sort of anxiety around befriending white women, because a lot of white women have this way of essentially punishing you if you're not operating in service to them. I've made a few videos about this in the past, but something I experience quite a bit is when I go out looking good and feeling good about myself, there will often be a point in the evening where a white woman will come and try to humble me. And I don't think it's very conscious, but there's something about a lot of white women, and I think the way that they've personally digested white supremacy, where white women always need to be catered to, they always need to be praised and celebrated and the best in the room. And some white women have a really hard time being in situations where that's not the case. And quite often, drawing boundaries for yourself or saying that you don't want to entertain a certain conversation or that you would rather go on with your day is interpreted by these white women as you being rude. Like when I was living in Orange County and I had colorful braids, so many white women would just come up and start touching me without even asking. Right? I would never think of putting my fingers through a white woman's hair, but living in Orange County, something that I had to accept is that white women, because I was black and different, are always going to have this assumption of familiarity that doesn't feel good to me. And that's just one example. I'm sure there's people who can give you plenty of other examples. And for me personally, I've had to learn that I can walk away from those conversations and I could stop giving a fuck about whether or not someone thinks that I'm being rude for that, because at the end of the day, it's not actually rude, right? This person, and they haven't usually processed it, is just so entitled, feels so entitled to my attention, my energy, because I'm a black woman, that they feel some type of way when they don't get it. And that has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with white supremacy. I think it would be productive for more white people to ask themselves when they're considering some black person to be rude, if they would feel the same exact way about a white person doing it. Someone yelling at you on the street, okay. But the few negative interactions that you're having with a black person, maybe think about the fact that you are probably factoring these interactions into your head differently because this person is a black person. And I'm gonna be honest, one of the other reasons I'm having anxiety around befriending new white women is because we have to have conversations like this. There's no intellectual curiosity from a lot of white women's side. They're not actually invested in knowing about the community they just moved into and why certain people wouldn't be happy to see them. They're not particularly interested in how their questions make me feel, how touching my hair makes me feel. It's all about them. And it's kind of suffocating.
Brothers and sisters, I hope you're fine. So you've watched the video and you've also seen the responses that our brothers and sisters have given according to this video. And most of them are traced back historically, the disparities which have been between blacks and whites, and some have also argued at the point of gentrification. You know, when you go to a place, when people with higher income goes to a place where there are people with lower income, it will increase the prices of goods and services, leading to, a stretch to what was normal to the people. And so some people also argued about historical factors, and it is true that black people have faced a number of problems, you know, and most of this part I never wanted to let out what I know, but rather I just wanted to be an interactive session. I want you to say something. Is it true that we black people, we hate white people? Well, I don't think black people hate white folks. This is because the reason is this. You know, when you grow in a society where you are being looked down upon, a person develops mechanism for protecting themselves. You know, one, you can stand against it. Two, you can protest against it. Three, you can, find ways of going against everything which is being against you. And most of the people normally confuse this as hate, which is not true. I don't think this is hate, but this is just a mechanism over time that black people, especially in the United States, have come up with to prevent them from all the injustices that they had. Because if you look at it historically, you'll understand why blacks are the way they are, and you'll understand why this white woman, she's complaining that some black folks don't like him. Well, I would say that it is not entirely black folks, and also it is not totally true that black folks hate white folks. I don't think so. Yeah, because we need to look at it back. Black folks are so happy, jovial, welcoming. It is just a mechanism that they have developed because that's how the society is. I mean, it's so cruel to them. So you gotta be strong or you gotta go home, you know. So this time I'll let you be the judges of what's happening here. I want you to tell me what you're thinking about this situation, because I believe that there is so many messed up situation. If black folks hate white people, there could have been no interracial marriages. You know, there could have been no a lot of partnership programs that they do together. People do together things which are past race. People do things which are past race. One thing that we need to know, we black folks, is that we need to elevate ourselves. We need to elevate ourselves because we have been the last. We have always been put the last. So this is the time for us to elevate ourselves. So when we black folks elevate ourselves, leaving other people outside, people start thinking that we hate other races, like we hate black people, which is not true, which is not entirely true. We don't hate black people, but the problems that black folks have faced historically has made us try to understand how can we cope up with these situations. So if you see a black person repellent interacting with the black person, repellent, they don't want white people to touch them, it's not that they hate them. It's like they're trying to protect their energy. It's like they're trying to protect what they have, because historically they have always been devalued. Historically they have always been dehumanized. You know, the dehumanization that has happened to a black person is so much more than what even this white lady is playing about here today. You know, the dehumanization that black folks went through, especially in the United States, in the systemic world, in the corporate America. economic injustices, social injustices. There's just, I mean, there's just this mechanism that black people have come up with that helps them fight off such kind of things that might happen to be a problem to them. We are just protective. We don't hate white people. I wanted to make that point right. For now, I'll leave this section for you. Tell me what you think about this discourse, because I think that we need to discuss about things. History says it very well. Black folks don't hate white folks. It might be opposite, but it is known that black folks hate white folks. No, it's not true. It is not true. When a person does something wrong, whether they are black or white, we'll call them out. And this is something that this channel does. Yes. So tell me, guys, what you think in the comment section. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.